I am here today with my good friend, Paula Wallace. Paula is truly a woman in charge. She is a dreamer, but she is a doer, and therefore she has made her dream come true. Uh, Paula, take me back to 1978 when you had a dream.
Well, thank you. I had a dream when I was teaching students in the public schools of Atlanta, and I thought I could do more. I wanted to see a university that really embodied all the principles of education and really love for students, attention to students, and also imbuing them with the possibilities of creativity and how they could carry that forward in their lives, especially as a career. So I thought about founding a college, and I decided to found it in Savannah, Georgia. And it's been a thriving passion of mine, something that I've worked very hard on for like over 40 years now.
So what was your dream? To create an art college, the first art college in the South, right?
It may not have been the first, but it's the best. I feel that it addresses the need to prepare students for careers so that they can actually practice these professions and not have them as a hobby. So our motto has always been no starving artists.
Did you ever dream that you would create this incredible school with 15,000 students enrolled, with 43,000 alumni, with an expansion in France, huge expansion in Atlanta, and 100 academic programs? I mean, this is amazing in so few years. I mean, I went to visit you recently, and I brought my son, and he was so impressed because you really, I mean, you have a museum, you have a school, you have all these you have an interior design program, you have a graphics school program, you have a computer program, you have a costume. I mean, you have so many things that you truly are a magician. And then when I mentioned you, a young girl whose father works with me, and I mentioned just his name, you automatically said, oh yes, Bianca, like, you know, you had just seen her yesterday. So what I find fascinating about you is that, you know, you look like a very pretty, you know, but on the verge of fragile woman, and instead you are this power, this, you see everything, you do everything, you're involved in every single detail, and so you truly are a woman in charge. So I really have so much admiration for you. So I really wanted to have you on this little conversation. And before we talk about that, I think that maybe we should talk about what is happening now, as we have the COVID-19, as we have, you know, the terrible thing that happened in the South, and what are the, you know, what are you doing about it? Because you are in the South, and so just I would like to know how you are addressing these issues that are so important today.
So important. Yes, I mean, we've all been, you know, very concerned. It's very troubling. It's very painful to everyone, especially our Black students. And we've been reaching out to everyone, even before this, when we had the COVID-19 situation. I started an initiative called the Peace of Mind Initiative, in that I wanted to reach out to each and every student. And we did reach out to each and every student enrolled even spring term. to really ask them what's on their mind, what do they need, even if it's something simple about how do I get a library book, or how do I contact someone for counseling. And I think that one-to-one conversation is very important, just as you're providing a platform for women to have conversations on your platform. You're providing that opportunity, and that's very important because we get to know each other on a personal level. As you and I've had the privilege of knowing you for many years now, and being your friend, and I think that's the way that we reach a greater understanding, is one by one.
So because you said one by one, because basically having an art school of your magnitude really means that you have really created a community, right? They start as students, but so many, and I know a lot of them, come back to teach, and they come back and they are involved with it. So it's very interesting because you have, when you build a community, you build power. And the power of your community is very interesting because it's a community that starts with expression, right? It's art, it's expression, it's painting, it's architecture, it's creating stories, it's creating clothes, it's fashion. So how you think is your place in society with this community? What is it that you can do with this community to have a better world and to be more humane? I think that one of the things that we are all facing today is that we are reminded of using our humanity. We are reminded of being aware and responsible. So for you, the leader of this art community, what is it that you can do, and what is it that you would like to do, and what is it that we should know about your community?
It is a community, and we learn, as educators, we gain our satisfaction vicariously, really, through the success of our students. So all of our attention is focused on our students, what they need. We also listen to the professions as to what they need for us to teach. So filmmaking is a huge major here at SCAD, and it's Georgia is the biggest filmmaking region in the country. So so that's very important for storytelling. And I think it's a very powerful cultural medium for storytelling. So we work a lot with our students on telling their stories. As you said, we have a wonderful museum, and you recently were visiting at the Walter O. Evans Center for African American Studies, where you admired Kentura Davis's work. Very, very profound. It's very profound work. So we have a lot of programming, a lot of opportunities to share ideas for esteemed experts to come in and speak to us, both artists and critics and writers and thinkers and other museum directors, curators. So the students have access to many, many points of view at SCAD, and then it's up to them to formulate their own points of view, and hopefully with an eye to doing good in the world after they leave SCAD and while they're at SCAD. And I am very proud of our alumni. They do so much good in the world. They take their education. Sometimes they go to work for a corporate entity. Sometimes they found their own nonprofits. And they follow their dreams. They use their education to do good in the world, to support themselves and their families, and also to contribute to the world.
Can you tell us all the different programs and all the different centers that you have there? Because people only think, fashion school. Just go over all of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have major campuses in Savannah and Atlanta, and then we have eLearning, where you can be anywhere in the world, anytime in the world, and study with us online. We also have a campus in France, in Provence, that was donated to us years ago, and students can study there just for one term, or they can come for more than one term if they wish. We have started the Savannah Women of Vision, and I've been inspired by you, because I noticed that Savannah women were not included in the history of Savannah. And so starting with the first translator, Mary Musgrove, who translated between the Native American community here and the British who came into this, because this was one of the first 13 colonies of the United States. And so Mary Musgrove was really the person who enabled those two men to communicate. And I noticed that the women in Savannah were not recognized. So I set about to have the Savannah Women of Vision, and it's been very intentional to include many different people from different eras in time, but also different backgrounds. And it's been a real joy to me to be able to create that so that school children can come in. We have curriculum guides for them. We also have something called SCAD Pro, where any business can partner with us. So if they have something that they're thinking about in their business, a way that they can improve their business, or something that they're undertaking, they can bring it into our students, and our students can think about it with them, and the students gain professional experience, and the businesses gain the bright minds and the brainstorming and the young thinking of all of our students. We also have something called SCAD AMP, which is about public speaking, about presenting oneself. It can be in any forum, but we found that many times artists and designers are very strong in the visual, but they may not have developed the strength that could benefit them in communicating verbally. So we've started something called SCAD AMP. It's about speak, visualize, and connect. So it's not neglecting the visuals, but it's speaking, and then it's connecting with people, as you're so good at.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, it is true that artists very often focus so much on their talent and their skill that they are, not so good at selling themselves or selling their art or selling what they can do. And so public speaking, I think, I was very lucky because I had a mother who made me speak and recite and memorize poetry since I was 1 year old. So I guess that's why she always made me speak. She always made me speak in public. First it was family, but tell me also, I think what I think people should know is, first of all, Savannah is probably the most beautiful city in America because it's very unusual. It has all these beautiful squares like European cities. But I know that 30 years ago, the city was very abandoned, and you really revitalized the city, like the hotels have become your dormitory, and the theaters are you part of the university. How many buildings in the city did you take over and revitalize?
I don't know, maybe 100 buildings in Savannah. It's one by one. Some of them are not very large, but as we saw a building that needed rescuing and needed a new life, then we've adapted it. Sometimes they were old school buildings already, but due to people moving out to suburbs, then they were kind of left abandoned in the middle of the city. So we revitalized those, refurbished them. And in doing so, it's really brought a lot of activity to neighborhoods that were formerly not very active. So when you have students coming and going, you have foot traffic, we have beautiful landscaping around our buildings, we have lighting. It serves a purpose. So a building can't be just rehabilitated or preserved for no purpose. So you have to have a purpose. If you just restore a building and then you don't put it to good use, it's going to easily and quickly decline again. So it's really the use of the building that's so important. And in this case, it's
right. So, what are the modern? Do you want to talk about the animation and all these very modern programs that you have started and are so beneficiary for today's, workplace?
yes, animation. When you look at the credits of an animated feature film, especially, you see the long list of artists that are required to create that film. So animation is a very popular major at SCAD. User experience design, we created in partnership with Google, and this is definitely in demand. We have actually a degree in social media design and strategy. We have the business of beauty and fragrance, which someone at L'Oreal asked me to institute because they thought that was an important degree for students to have. We have design management. We have creative business leadership. So just about anything that you need in the creative field, we call ourselves the University for Creative Careers, because the intention is that students would be able to pursue what they study at SCAD as a meaningful career and contribute to the world, as I said, and also do what they love, what they're passionate about.
Well, that is here. I have your book right here now.
Thank you.
But that, you see, that is really the reason why I wanted to bring you in, because I wanted people to know out there, parents, students, of all the all of the things. If you have a creative child, or if you are creative, all the different things that you could be involved with that you didn't even think about.
Yes, just, I mean, looking at you, so you are in a beautiful interior, so we teach interior design, that's needed and necessary. We teach architecture, we teach industrial design, so you've got lighting that I can see in your beautiful space there. We teach jewelry design, just anything. We teach fibers and textiles, which you being,
yes.
of course, a long time advocate for the fashion world with your work with CFDA, as well as with your own fashion lines over the years. Textiles and fibers are the basis for not only interior design and so much that is done in interiors, but also, of course, fashion. So these are all very important majors. Students can come in not knowing exactly what they want to study, and they each will be assigned 3 different advisors. So they'll have advisors about their career, advisors about their academics, and also they'll have counseling and personal advisors. So they can decide what they want to major in. Sometimes students change their majors 4 times when they're at SCAD, because they start in one thing and they like it, but then they see, oh, there's something else over here, and I see my friends doing industrial design, or I see my friends doing service design, and I think I could contribute to that world too. Graphic design, advertising, yes, anything, production design, costume design, anything that you can make a living in as a creative person, we teach at SCAD.
All right. So is there anything else you want to tell the world that people should know?
Well, I think education is so important right now. As we've been talking about, we're at a critical time in history, and hopefully empathy and education and kindness and generosity. And I think you're such a strong advocate of that. You're always so generous. You're always so kind, and you're such a smart person too. You share your knowledge with others. And I think that's one of the best things that we can do right now, to reach understandings and to all contribute to the important work that we have ahead of us in the world.
Right. And I think that I want everyone to know what a role model you are, and how you decided you had a dream and you created a dream, and it's bigger and better every year, and you add to it, and you have helped so many young people to be able to fulfill themselves and dream and manifest their dream into art, but into career. So if anybody really wants to go to an art school, I think everybody should look into SCAD and into how it is become a huge community in the most beautiful city of Savannah, and where you are the heart of it, but your heart is reflected in behind every wall, behind every building, behind every student. And I really, it's a real privilege to know you, Paula. You are a wonderful, wonderful woman. And what you have created is just extraordinary.
Thank you.
Let
I
me
love.
ask you a question.
Yes.
Are you an artist yourself?
You know, I grew up playing the piano. As you said, your mother asked you to speak when guests were in your home. And so I was always the one to play the piano. And so usually I like to accompany those. So maybe that presaged my career as an educator, because I more like to accompany other people than I never saw myself as a solo pianist. But I think our students are very much in tune with the vibrations of tomorrow. And so I always learn from them. I'm always learning from our students. And I know when you came and spoke at graduation years ago, you exhorted the students to live their time in history. And I think that's what they're doing today. I think that's what we're all doing. It's kind of the idea of being present and being mindful, being respectful of the past, learning from the past, thinking always towards the future, but really being living your time in history.
Well, I do believe in that the secret of life is really owning it, and being in charge is really first a commitment to yourself. And I think that you've done that now for how many? 43,000 alumni. So you have already changed 43,000 lives and allowed these and given confidence to all these students that they can actually create something and make a better world. So Paula, thank you so much for everything and for what you do. And once again, hooray for SCAD.
Thank you, Divya.
Bye.
Love you.